and welcome to the Daily Dish. I'm your host, Kathy Rankin. All week we've been talking with Tracy and Charlie, and they're the co-founders of Simple Self-Defense for Women, and you can go to their website at simpleselfdefenseforwomen.com. And we've had some great tips that they've shared on protecting yourself, getting away from an attacker or an abductor. Now, you guys aren't proponents of using weapons, and we talked about it a little bit before, but we're going to get into more detail now. First of all, I want to know why you don't recommend weapons, and what are some of the situations that can happen where it turns bad for somebody if they do try to have a weapon.
Well, one of the things that we don't want you to carry a weapon because a lot of people don't know what to do with a weapon. And if you're going to hesitate when you have one, you know, it's going to be turned against you. We don't want that to happen. And again, we're about escaping. We're not about fighting. We don't want you to have to dig in your purse to find your gun or pull out your knife or whatever it happens to be. So we want you to get away. But, you know, the problem is, too, is there are a lot of people who think that they might want to use a weapon, but they're going to hesitate. And if you're not ready to, you can't apologize once a bullet leaves the chamber.
Right, and I think you make a really good point here, because it's one thing to go to a gun range. I mean, this is a big topic right now. People are buying guns who maybe don't know how to use them, and in your real life situation, it's not the same as when you have a very structured environment and you can practice.
And most people don't practice.
Yeah,
They buy
and
them,
that's
they
the
put them
thing.
away.
Right. They don't really know what to do with them. So show me what some of the pitfalls are of trying to use a weapon to protect yourself.
Well, first thing is you got to have the weapon with you all the time.
And here you are. Here's our,
Oh, yay.
our high-end weapon for you.
So this is not a real gun, obviously.
But let's say if you pointed a gun at me and you hesitate, the
Right.
guns can be easily taken away from you.
Which, yeah, and if you're fearful, ow, and if you're fearful, that would happen. And you made a good point. If I was pointing a gun, most likely your finger would go on this trigger, and if you tried to pull it out of my hands,
If you put your finger in the trigger,
I'm not going to try that. But you would take my finger with you.
Your finger comes up. Your finger basically breaks when it comes
Right.
out. The gun will discharge.
And then your attacker has a weapon pointed at you.
pointed at you. Right.
Okay, so what happens
Well,
with the knife? Same thing, or?
Same thing. If someone's got a knife and they know how to take it away from you, the knife becomes my weapon now, and I can use it on you as well.
Right. So if somebody broke into my house, and you hear about somebody, you know, go grab a knife from the kitchen, is this as easy to take away, because someone's not going to want to grab the blade,
they're not
are
going
they?
to grab here. They're going to grab here and pull it away.
Gotcha.
Or they're going to pull it this way and then.
And a knife is pretty personal. You know, a gun, people feel a little more courageous because there's distance. You
Right.
know, with a knife, you got to think
It's
about.
pretty scary, yeah, and
Yeah.
you still have to be in close quarters with somebody if you're going to use a knife.
Right.
And
So-
to answer your question, if someone's in your house, what you want to do is barricade yourself in a room and keep away
So again,
from
it's not trying to
it.
engage.
You don't want to engage that person.
No.
So what else do you see is a problem with weapons in people these days doing that instead of learning actual techniques that maybe are more realistic?
Statistically speaking, you're more likely to harm someone in your home, okay, and with a weapon, particularly a gun. You're more likely to someone to be shot in your home.
I think that's a really important point.
You know, the other thing too is that bullets go through walls, and police officers are trained on how to use a weapon. They know not when and when not to shoot. You can kill somebody across the street or your neighbor across the street. Most people don't think about those types of things.
And you have to be prepared. I mean, you really do have to be prepared. I mean, if you're going to carry a gun, you've really got to be personal with it. You need to be out with it all the time. You have to know how to use it. You have to want to use it, and you have to not hesitate. And you have to remember, just because you shot somebody because you were being attacked doesn't mean that they're not going to come back and sue you, or there's going to be allegations against you. So you really have to think about that, and you don't want to be
There's
thinking,
a lot more
right.
to it. Well, and another point too is, and we talked about this, but it's so important, if you're carrying something, it's got to go somewhere. So most likely with a woman, it's going to be in your purse, and you're not going to have time to dig in there and
There's
grab
other
it.
alternatives. They have strap-ons, things like that, but
That's,
But
most
that's,
of us wear those.
yeah, right. I mean, that's, you know, again, we're talking about realistic
Right.
things, and children too. You know, you're not going to have your child taking a gun or a knife to school or to the mall when they're going out with friends.
and even as an adult, there are a lot of places that don't allow guns. You
Right.
can't take guns everywhere with you.
Right, and
Then what
the
do you do?
airport, and
Right.
Yeah, some restaurants, bars, you can't take it in. Any public buildings, you're gonna take it in. So if you're gonna limit yourself that way and you're leaving yourself vulnerable in that parking lot, let's say, when you leave a public building,
And a lot
What
of
are you gonna do then?
employers will not allow you. So let's just say you have a concealed weapons license and you're driving to work. A lot of employers won't even allow you to have a license to carry a gun and have your car in the parking lot at work.
With a gun.
Right. So if you think you're prepared, but maybe you drive 35 minutes to work every day. So what happens in that 35-minute span? And do you not stop at all on your way home or on your way to work or go out to lunch?
Right, and again, if you don't have it with you all the time,
Right.
I mean, it's usually the times when we're not expecting it that something happens. So
Right.
it's not like you know when to plan.
Right.
Well, really great, important information. I'm so glad we could share this with you guys. And Tracy and Charlie, I thank you so much for being in the
Thank
studio
you.
with us this week. We hope you guys have gotten a lot of really good tips that you can use at home to protect yourselves. And I'm so impressed with what you guys have done. We hope to have you back again on another future week of Daily Dish episodes. So we hope to see you guys then for more great stuff.